Sometimes in life, we go through unimaginable pain. With that pain comes an extraordinary choice. Do we let that pain consume us? Or do we turn that pain into purpose? Today, I'm here to tell you what it was like for me to make that choice. Let me start by telling you about my son, Max. Max enriched the lives of those around him. He was relentlessly curious, fiercely loyal, and most of all, big-hearted with a dry, mischievous wit. Max held those he loved to very high standards. It was his way of making us all better human beings. Maxie was a man of few words. He preferred to listen rather than to talk. He was an avid reader and typically had a book as a gift whenever he saw you. He was a graduate of the Gallatin School at NYU and read and discussed 100 books as part of his senior colloquium. Max's first love was lacrosse. He began playing as a child in summer camp and then played for his high school. Although he wasn't a natural athlete, he found his way to the perfect position. He was in the X position. His job was to get the ball to the right man who would then have the best shot at scoring. And that's exactly what he did, better than anyone in the history of his high school, Harvard-Westlake, here in Los Angeles. He claimed the school's single season and career assist goal records. Maxie excelled at lacrosse because of his brains. He always figured out who to pass to so that they could score. That's what made him a great athlete and a great friend. His teammates made him their captain as a junior, a great honor. On the field, Max was the picture of mental fortitude. But off the field, he was privately struggling. At the age of 25, Max took his life. He lost his intense battle with anxiety and depression. It was a disease that we learned he had struggled with since childhood. We never knew. As a child, we knew him to be the smartest kid in the class. Everything came easy to him. We never knew how much he struggled trying to be the best. I only learned in family therapy when he was in his 20s that in elementary school, he woke up at 5 a.m. every morning to do his homework. In high school, he did very well academically. He studied Japanese, he performed in the school play. Also, he sought counseling to deal with his anxiety and depression and chose not to tell us. Throughout his life, his illness came in waves, sometimes receding and sometimes crashing over him. When Max returned home from college, we thought he was living his dream. He had a great apartment in West Hollywood, his dream job in the mailroom at the Creative Artists Agency, a girlfriend, and loads of friends. But soon his battles with anxiety and depression became worse. He wanted to get better, but the medication he was taking and therapies he was receiving didn't help. We went to countless appointments with many doctors who changed the medical cocktail. The drugs had debilitating side effects. Suddenly, Maxie, our uncommonly sweet, kind, quiet, yet outgoing boy, didn't want to see his friends. He and his girlfriend broke up. His roommate moved out. He missed appointments and generally withdrew from his life. Max was ashamed. He didn't want anyone to know about his pain and struggle. He was embarrassed by his illness. We tried to get him into a day program at UCLA, but they were full and he couldn't get in. He wouldn't consider any type of inpatient program. He was an adult and could make his own choices. As a mother, I felt helpless and hopeless. I was terrified every day the phone rang. Finally, in January of 2012, Maxie agreed to go to a facility across the country to be evaluated. He was angry at me for making him go, yet hopeful at the possibility of learning how to deal with his illness. After that, he came home and tried to take care of himself. 8 months later, the cycle began again. This time he moved in with me, then quickly moved to New York, then called me to come and get him. He told me he needed to get some help. I brought him home. He was enrolled in a month-long residential program here in LA. He was tentative when he left there, but committed to living a full life again. He began seeing his friends, got a great job that he loved, moved in with his girlfriend. Then he started to suffer again, or maybe still. He didn't talk to me about it. He was quiet, withdrawn, didn't want to celebrate his 25th birthday. No one can imagine the terror of knowing that your child is missing. It began gradually with a call from his office, then calls and texts that went unanswered for hours. Then suddenly, the text that would change my life forever. The one that no parent should ever have to receive. The Max we loved so desperately was gone. The pain was too great. He died by suicide. Today, I'm here to tell you that there is hope. Even a person who has lived through the most unimaginable grief can make a difference. It took me a long time to dig out of that darkness. Some days I'm still in it. But what has helped me the most was finding ways to turn my pain into purpose. And in doing so, becoming connected with a community of healers, of scientists, of deeply caring and passionate human beings who share my purpose. After Maxie's death, I couldn't function. I couldn't read, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat. My therapist and a grief psychiatrist couldn't help me. My husband suggested that I talk to my rabbi. My rabbi helped me begin the healing and living process. Then I went to talk to the medical director of the Neuropsychiatric hospital at UCLA. That one meeting with Tom changed the direction of my life. I joined the board of advisors of that hospital to learn more and help others in any way that I could. I decided that we needed to have more access to mental health professionals because we couldn't get the help we needed from Max. With the help of my friends and family, we started the Max Gray Fund to hire postdoctorate mood disorder fellows in both child and adolescence to increase capacity and to change the future of anxiety and depression treatment. I joined the Depression Grand Challenge Leadership Council and have been working hard on science and treatments and reducing the burden of depression. At our temple, we decided to do something to help the broader community, and we found a way to start online screening for at-risk community members in Spanish and Korean. Maxie wanted to be well, but his pain was insurmountable. It was like a cancer in his mind that we couldn't see, but all felt. Sadly, there wasn't a system in place that could have changed the outcome for us. Now I am driven every day by a single purpose: to change the way we understand, treat, and talk about mental illness. Depression, anxiety, and mental illness have touched all of our lives. You each came here today for a reason. We need change now. Change in stigma, because no person should suffer in silence, and mental illness is not a weakness. Max was sick. He wasn't weak. If he had a broken leg, he wouldn't have been ashamed. We need change in the availability of a high-quality mental health services, because everyone deserves access to the help they need. Change in what happens to a depressed mind and body, because scientific insights will light the pathways towards better cures. Change in how we listen to and talk to people who are suffering, because lack of judgment, kindness, and patience are incredibly powerful tools. Right now, people are in trouble. People in your life, people in my life, and people all around the world are struggling silently, just as Maxie did. 20% of people in this country will suffer a depressive episode at least once in their lives. There is a 75% rate of recurrence. Suicide is the second leading cause of death in 15 to 29-year-olds. Think about that. We have a responsibility to do better. A substantial portion of people taking antidepressants don't derive any benefit from them. My Max was one of those. In the United States, 42 to 43,000 people die by suicide every year. That's about 115 people a day. Let's remember why we're here today. As a result of the conspiracy of silence, people don't really understand how significant that number is from a societal standpoint. When a high-profile person dies by suicide, people stop and talk about it. Let's not forget the other 114 people who took their lives the very same day. It is especially disconcerting that 40% of people who die by suicide visit the emergency room in their last year of life. My Maxie did. 15% of those visits are a result of self-harm. We have a responsibility to do better. What can you do? How can you be the change we need? Maybe you can share a personal story, honestly and authentically, so that the cloud of shame and stigma begin to lift. Maybe you can give of your time or resources to support brain science or improve access to high-quality mental health care. Maybe you can reach out to a family member or a friend with kindness and with strength and without fear or judgment, and listen to their story. Silence and stigma must be transformed into open dialogue. Whatever your pain is, whatever tragedy has touched your life, there is hope in helping. There is healing power in reaching out with kindness and with strength. Maxie would have loved that. Thank you.